Her Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
So anxious resistant. So remember there were 4 categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anxious resistant kids were on the opposite end of the spectrum. They didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They really clung to their caregivers, whether it's parents. When I say caregivers, I mean parents, grandparents, just old people in their lives who were, really part of that initial bonding experience. For these kids, they tended to have really exaggerated emotional reactions to stuff, but they also kept the distance from their peers. How did this translate into adulthood? That translated into anxious, preoccupied adults. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of formed less secure bonds with partners and feel really desperate for love and affection.
God is patient. God is kind. God is long-suffering. God never fails. God always hopes. God always trusts. God always perseveres. God doesn't envy. God doesn't boast. God doesn't seek his own, but is always seeking what's best for you. God rejoices in the truth.
That's right.
God doesn't define love. God demonstrates love.
Good evening and welcome back. It is Monday night, so that means you are here with us on Monday night with KW Ministries. We are so excited to have you join us tonight. Whether you are on from Facebook, YouTube, or any other platform, know that you are out for another great conversation tonight. So I want to kind of start with a reminder for those people who maybe you have never been with us before. What is KW Ministries? What are we doing here? What are these whole conversations about? What are we even doing? So KW Ministries came from a place of a personal journey through a really challenging time in myself and my husband's life. And we kind of discovered along the way that it was helpful, one, to have conversations with others, and two, to recognize that we weren't alone in what we were going through. And so, as we did a couple of projects, we wrote some books, we started a seminar series, and we started this Monday night live program. And I think one of the things that we have taken away from this more than anything else is just the idea of connecting with others and what that does for us as individuals. So, gosh, so Monday Night Live has become an experience. We've had so many conversations with different people along the way. We've had conversations with people about their journeys through, journeys to healing with medical issues, cancer, their journeys to healing with grief and loss. We've just gone down so many different paths, and each one has taught us something that has been irreplaceable. Tonight will be no different, but I don't want to get into who we have on yet or what we're going to be talking about just yet. I do want to encourage you, if you're on and listening, that one of the great features of joining us on Monday nights is that you get the opportunity to check out our online store. And for a lucky person who is joining us tonight, you get the opportunity not just to check out our store, but you get to check out our store with cash on hand. What do I mean by that? So we are giving away a coupon to our store tonight. You get store credit, basically. So if how you do that is as we're having our conversation tonight, feel free to comment, ask questions, and that'll automatically enter you into the rankings for winning that gift tonight. If you're not a winner tonight, guess what? It doesn't mean that you can't be one. You can head on over to www.kwministries.net/shop and you can go shopping all for yourself. You can win whatever you'd like. So we want to encourage you to check that out as you're joining us this evening. So if you've been following along with us, you know that tonight we have two very amazing young people on our show tonight. And we are talking about a journey of coming to America, which is a pretty important, I feel like, experience to share and to kind of get that understanding of. Now, while many people who are probably listening and watching have had that experience, it no two experiences are alike. And so tonight we want to talk with this brother and sister who navigated and are still navigating. For anybody who has, gone to a different country, moved to a different country, knows that it's not just about the move itself, but it's also about what you do after the fact. Um, who are who have made that transition and are making that transition. We just want to share with them tonight. So you might notice that our co host is not with us right now. Fret not, you will see him not too far from now. So, as it is, this is KW Ministries, Kamala and Winston, and we are getting ready to jump into our discussion. We want to welcome to our studio tonight. Hello. We have Cece and Simone joining us tonight from the great Erie, Pennsylvania.
Hello, guys.
How's it going?
Good. How about you? How's your
N-
Monday?
Not too, for a couple of Mondays now, I've been saying, either ebbs and flows between a Monday or just a Monday. Today I feel like was kind of an in between of a Monday, which is like that Monday that you don't want, that super stressful Monday. You know
Yeah.
that? Yeah, that's Monday. But today hasn't been a Monday. It's been kind of in between. So that's how I'm describing it. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Awesome.
Ah,
So,
doing good.
we want to kind of jump into this discussion of what coming to America has been like. So here's where I want to start us off. Um, if you could give our viewers just a little bit of background before we get to the coming to and how that went and how that's going, where are we coming from? Give us a little background on where you're coming from.
so, so our family is originally from Burundi. That's a small country in East Africa. And due to war, they had to migrate from Burundi to Congo. And that's where they had two of my oldest siblings. And then from Congo, due to civil wars, they had to migrate to Tanzania. And that's where they had me and my younger siblings, including him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we were pretty much born and raised in Tanzania in a refugee camp for 10 years. Well, for my 10 years, and for his 7 years before we moved to EBPA.
Mm.
Yeah.
So hold on. So you said a lot in a short amount of time. So there was a lot of movement. The reason for your parents' transition to Tanzania had a lot to do with things that were happening in the country that
Yeah.
were probably pretty scary for them to go through.
Yeah.
What stories do you remember, or what stories have your parents told of that time that you're aware of?
Well,
Stories that I remember being told was them being too busy moving around to even like take time to remember their birthdays. So that's
Mm.
yeah, like he was constantly on a move where something like that was not even a thought.
so
Yeah.
they were always on a survival mode to worry about the small things. So
Hmm.
so yeah, it's pretty much like okay, we're surviving. How we surviving to eat, surviving to sleep, to find some ways to sleep safely because it's not guaranteed that your family will be there the next day because of all the wars that was going on.
Hmm.
Our story doesn't start to Tanzania, the refugee camp, which was where we stayed for most of our lives, well,
Yeah.
half of our lives. Yeah.
So bring us there, Cece and Simone. So your parents are already going through this experience. They've described it to you in a way where, from your understanding of it, they're in survival mode. So
Yeah.
here we are, Tanzania. Start us off with your story.
There was a lot of soccer involved.
There was a lot of soccer involved.
Yes. I don't remember nothing negative about it. Literally
Mhm.
just I mean other than the whoopings I got in school, but that's besides the point. But yeah, all I remember is pretty much playing outside because every kid, pretty much was majority was in the same situation as you're in. So there was never a moment of wanting something like another person has because
We were in a camp.
yeah, you grab a ball and you play, so and that's all that mattered.
Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
So he was younger, so he remembers less than I do.
Mhm.
So like from my parents living survive from my parents living as in the survival mode, they were always in the survival mode because like I said, anything could happen. So they got used to moving around due to the civil war that every time they hear a gunshot, they had their suitcases ready. To this day, honestly, to this day, we keep our clothes in suitcases.
Mhm.
That was normal, but apparently not. It was not. It was not to visit my American friends, and they were like, "You gotta hang all your clothes." What do you mean? I gotta hang all my clothes? You gotta keep them in a suitcase. But apparently, that was our way of surviving because every time
Mhm.
a gunshot, we would just get our stuff and be ready to go. we were just already ready to go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Now, was that something that you remembered specifically from being in Tanzania, or was that kind of out of your parents' experience that they kind of passed down to
yeah.
you guys?
That part of being ready to go wherever you are was passed down to us. We did
Mhm.
move once, but we moved to a different. We moved to a different like city because the I guess the refugee people can't. The I don't know the
No, it was also when we
directors wanted
moved. It
us
was
to
also in
move.
the transaction of coming here,
Right.
so we had to go
Yeah.
to a different location in order to get ready to come here.
Mhm.
Yeah, but even me, I do remember as a childhood. I don't like most of my memories do not involve my parents being around. It really involved being around friends and siblings. That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. All I remember is my mom will like early morning they would go somewhere and then they come back later on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that they would leave early in the morning to go farm or like find trees to use to cook because we didn't have electricity, so we had to use wood to cook. So
Mhm.
we were like we would go to school, come back and play. But yeah,
Yeah. So you said that, Cece, for you, it was 10 years, Simone, for 7 that you were
hmm
in Tanzania in the refugee camp.
hmm
Part of that was the transition that you made to then transition to Erie.
yeah,
Hmm.
So, Simone, you've mentioned that, a lot of your childhood memories come from, being around friends, playing soccer, those kinds of things. Cece, your memories are a little bit, you have more memories of that time than your
yeah.
brother. Um, what were some of what were some of the challenges, if you can remember anything like that, um, from living in a refugee camp situation from a child's perspective?
The funny part about that, we didn't know we were living in a refugee camp until we came here.
Mm-hmm.
We were told that you were living in a refugee camp. I'm like, oh, because we had regular, well, it was not regular houses, but we had our own, we had our own community. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
apparently we were not shipped. We were taken to woods, but we turned it into our own little home. We had our own trees. What's it? We had our own houses. We planted mango trees and banana trees and corn. So we turned it into our home.
Yeah.
That the kids, us, we didn't realize that we were in a refugee camp. It was not
Mm-hmm.
until we came here we were like, oh, we're in a refugee camp. So I can. The only challenge is there is a challenge. The only challenge is that that was not our home, even though that's the only place we've known.
Right.
Yeah, like
Did you have that sense of it at that time, or did that come later on?
Yeah, for me,
that came later.
I
That
was
came later.
chilling. I even realized people live in a different home to a guy here. I thought everybody was the same, and
Yeah, we
then
were all,
and then when somebody like a friend that's like from the same place is like, oh, I sink. I'm like, what are you talking about? You had a sink. Like, what do you mean? We didn't do that. We will go get the water. What are you talking about?
we
So
got to go
yeah,
fetch the water.
back then and everything, I thought we all had the same because
Yeah,
you're surrounded by the community and everybody has the same situation.
yeah,
We share stuff, so I thought, okay, this is it.
this is it. And we
Yeah.
also didn't have like internet. We didn't
Yeah.
have phones to be like, oh, this is what we're missing out on. We were just in our own little world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No, you mentioned the word, Simone, community. You're in your own community. And one of the things that's come up for us repeatedly, and before I say that, I just want to say, hey, Sister Rosabelle, hey, Jenny, so glad to have you guys on tonight. Please continue to comment, like, share, do all the things. Definitely help keep the conversation going. So you mentioned community, and one of the things that popped up in my mind is just how often when we're having these conversations with different people about the different experiences that they've had over a lifetime, community always comes up. Who's around us, what that was like, how that impacted us always comes up. How do you think your community, the family that was around you, how do you think that helped? How do you think that, describe for us, like, how, what was that like for you guys in terms of the community, the family community that you had?
It was pretty much more like a thing of like you give Definitely, like you offer somebody comes in need, comes asking for like some salt, you give because next time it could be you. So my mom was always giving. She always, no matter how big, how small, you came asking, she was offering, and I got to witness that. Even here, she still does the same thing. So that's kind of a big part of me.
Mm,
You know the saying that says it takes a village to raise a child?
yeah.
That's literally the community we lived in. Everybody knew each other. If you're hungry, you can always go to your neighbor house to eat.
Hmm.
Literally, if you're sick, you can always reach out to your neighbor, and they also can reach out to you. That's like how we didn't feel like we lacked anything because the love we received and gave from each other.
She sugarcoating it. He took that literally. He took it so literally where if I was somebody else's child, they can whoop me and then
Yes,
go tell my parents that they whooped me and why
and
they
then they will
whooped
be
me,
proud.
and they will be proud that I got whooped. They took that too literally sometimes. It's like, what are you doing?
Not understand abuse word, but
You
like
couldn't even call.
discipline abuse.
Yeah, like
Like discipline word.
you can't even call a person by their name. You gotta call them like a
Yes.
dad or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm,
So much respect, so much love, and just so much, so connected.
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think those experiences with community and having that village, how do you think that impacted you as individuals? And those lessons learned from observing your mom always being that giving person. How did that impact you guys?
He has a big impact on us because to this day, we, I feel, well, yeah, it's not the same because America is not the same because, they don't, mm. So how do I say this? So we also try to share the same love, but Americans are like raised differently, so they may not be open to that kind of love.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
like back home, we all taught, don't just go to strangers' house, of course. But here is more serious
yeah,
over here than is over there. Like
Yeah.
it's just to help somebody who's driving, I mean, to pick somebody up who's on the road. You have to think about it twice
twice,
before you pick
yeah,
them up. Compared to over there, it's like, oh, this person needs help. That's the most
Hmm.
valuable thing to do. Is
yeah, because you gotta make sure you also safe. But
Right.
over there, we didn't have to think twice. It's like we all struggling, so we just help each other out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Jenny and mentioned in the comments the real village. So I feel like that really just resonated with her when she heard you talk about that experience that you had as children. So now you started to make the transition. Um, how did that start? You mentioned earlier that there was a move that happened that came before the move to America. Talk to us about that experience of that initial move and then that transition period.
to me, that movie was easy. It was literally moving from a village to a village. So it was like, especially for cousins, they moved right with us. So
Yeah.
personally, I didn't even feel like there was a big difference. I literally moved from one area to another and then continued doing the same thing I was doing before. Like funny friends was the easiest thing ever. He's outside, I'm outside. Let's do something. It was really that simple.
What made it easier is because we moved with we moved with all the family we know and grew up
Hmm.
with. So it was not like well you got it changed when we got to America because we got separated. But when we moved from a village to another village, we moved together at the same
Hmm.
time. So it was easier that way.
Yeah.
Um yeah, it was not that bad.
No, I appreciate the way you talked about that in terms of the move, that initial move, because you said it was easier because we moved together.
Yeah.
And I think that's so crucial when we're talking about transitions that people make from country to country and this whole idea of I've got to assimilate into a new culture. There's so many factors that go into that. And what I hear you saying is that before getting to Erie, where you now are, one of the things that helped to kind of mitigate the stress, even as children, was just the knowledge that you already had community around you. That's how I
Mhm.
heard that.
Mm-hmm.
So it shifted a little when you made the move to America.
Yes.
What changed?
Our family got separated.
Why you going? She capping. That's not a way to change.
Everything changed.
Well, yeah,
Everything
America,
changed.
in back home, is seen as the greatest place, probably one of the greatest places you could possibly go to.
It was like
So
heaven on earth.
I didn't even know where I was going. I was still bragging about it. That's how America is seen as. So we came here. At first, like, okay, I didn't really see much of it. I just like, okay, new place again. And then, slowly but surely you start seeing the different cultures you can't really do as you do back home. Like maybe when we arrived here, the first day, we arrived at nighttime. The next day, I was about to go pee outside because I thought, you just pee anywhere. And then my dad's like, oh no, I think they have a toilet in the bathroom upstairs. You gotta go use that. So like that was a whole nother thing right there. That was the biggest shock for me when I was 7 years old. Well, yeah, the biggest thing is also you see that the dress that people wear different. Girls back home do not wear the way they dress here. Not saying good or bad. It's just different.
Just different.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to take a couple of comments, but I want to come back to something that you said, Simone. So Roosevelt Martin said, I can relate to the experience because I was raised in a similar community in Antigua. She's talking about when you were talking about that community. And then Jenny said, that's key with transitioning to any place. Togetherness is everything. And then she made another comment, culture shock about coming to the States. So when you said that one of the things was just noticing one, that America had this pre-packaged idea about it. And how I heard that, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but how I heard that is that you had an idea in your mind, but that idea was different from the reality?
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even
Okay.
I really had no idea why I was hyping this place up. It was more like the kids, right? It was pretty much like the place was at, everybody was moving. So everybody was moving different directions, some Europe, some whatever.
Yeah.
And we were pretty much in a game where you trying to brag about your place to be better than the other place. None of us had any idea how that place looked like, what to expect. We just knew wherever we was going, it was better because the money was easier to achieve. That's why even now people still think in America, life must be easier.
Yeah.
Now, Cece, being a little bit older, what was your experience like making that transition, noticing the difference in culture and practice and how people were? What was your experience initially?
To be honest, I don't know. It's just I came and here I am. It was weird. Like
Also, one of the hardest part of it all was, I think, for us was we was kind of the first Africans to arrive here. So, like right now, we have new Africans, and we already established a community here already, to where now they are easily able, like we're able to help them out to avoid the stuff that we did.
We went through.
Yes,
because you don't have to go through
before it was like we did like 2 or 3 families here, so we was literally figuring out as we went, compared to people who are here now. We are able to bring them in, do different stuff together, and help each other. Yeah, because they still hold. I'm sorry, they still hold meetings like they will do as a community. They will still hold meetings.
So they kind of created a little community within here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so communities, it's a big deal when it comes to our culture because they created a whole community here.
Yeah, they will hold meetings, and then like if that's somebody you have a death in the family, they'll come together to raise the money for it, all that.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned that one of the things that was different was you guys were the first ones there. And what over time, with the addition of more people, we've been able to rebuild the community. And so some of the things that you went through, the people who came after you did not go through. So what do you mean when you say there were some things that you had to go through that were so important to you that you had to make sure that the people coming after didn't have that? What were those experiences?
You literally have no idea. Like when you get here, you have no idea how things work. For example, like I was a child at that time, but we didn't know what was happening at that time was, was wrong. But it was not till later on when we got older when there's a couple that came when we first came to America. There's a couple that came to teach my big sister English as volunteers, and they said that our refrigerator was empty. They said that we didn't have anything to eat. I don't remember that, but apparently that happened. And they started doing more than they were supposed to do to help us out to get like groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And they could help us set up with services like the food at the time food stamp, the food stamp and stuff like that. So like even though we had a caseworker once we got here, we only saw him like how many times. So
I don't remember that.
exactly. He don't even remember the guy. But we had a caseworker, but we only saw him like how many times. So we when we have a community that already went through the same experience they're going through, they're able to get help faster.
Because
Instead of
people
being
know that
with no
what resources are around and what needs to be accessed.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. You got to the point where Dad made appointments for me to go to people's house to fix their TV without even asking me. Like I will really be getting from this house to this house because they had some issues with their type of devices, and they knew I knew how to fix it, so they would send me over there, so they don't have to try to find a different way or replace it when you don't need to.
Or translating letters.
Yes, translating. Yeah. Especially translating was a big thing because the barrier with the other folks is not easy. I mean, the language barrier with the other folks is still.
Tell me what that was like for you guys, navigating new country, new language, new schools, new way of. What was that piece like for you guys?
Personally, I think the biggest thing was the siblings. We have a lot of siblings, 7 in all, and that was a big thing because we went to the same school because it was all around the same age group, and then we just literally survived there and then come back home. Yeah, 5 of us went to the same school.
Yeah,
we will go there and then just come back and we even go nowhere. I don't remember going anywhere in the first house. Our first house we spent it all in the house playing with each other.
Yeah,
so
that's what made it.
Yeah, the siblings part was big.
Being around people you are used to going through the same thing helps. Yeah, it helps. And then later on, we create our own community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the experience like of being in school when you first made that transition?
I was a good cheater, so I ain't had no issue with that. All I know is we had the same paper. Whatever you wrote down, I wrote down. So I ain't that. If school was nothing, I ain't struggle. I guarantee you, I ain't struggle. I found the smartest person that went through it. I ain't nothing else to it.
What got me is how shocked they were when they found out we were good at school. Oh, well, like, okay, not reading. Obviously, we didn't know English. We didn't know how to read, but math. Wasn't because they put me in 3rd grade when I got here. Wrong grade, by the way. But yeah, they put me in the 3rd grade, and then I was in ESL class because we had to go through English second language, And I don't know what happened. I just remember this vividly. So the English teacher did like an easy math. Like I think it was 2 + 2, and I just did it so fast, and they were just shocked. You have to do this? Like, what do you mean? I'm in 3rd grade. They weren't math. Like when it came to math, since I knew math, 3rd grade math was so easy because I feel like I think I was doing 5th grade math. So they were really shocked, and just like, "Why are you so shocked?"
Yeah. So there was an assumption.
Yes.
Yeah, even in high school, I received that talking about because like I was in honor classes, and they was like, "Where you learn this from?" Like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, I'm like, it's just math.
We went to school too.
I feel like math always came easy because especially since it's universal, like the numbers are not changed. So like anybody like the only person who don't know who's not good at math is the one who was born here, or pretty much that came here as a baby. That's the only one. That's the only one who says he struggles at math. So I don't know what they be doing over here, but we had no issues with math.
Just everyone.
No.
But for me, I think God sent me an angel when I first got here because obviously we don't know anything. We were just dumped here, taken to this school. And in my head, that's how I felt because we don't know nothing. We were just taken to this school. I think I got lost a few times in the bus, but anyways.
We did.
Yeah, we
was
did.
With you.
Yeah, we did.
You was terrible.
Listen, they want me to be the leader. Excuse me, I'm
You were the oldest.
So, lucky for me, I had an angel sent from above who held my hand. Okay, you follow me. Let's go to lunch. Of course, I remember eating pork because I didn't know it was pork at the time. I was just
Mhm.
eating what they gave me. But yeah, I had this friend who held my hand, took me everywhere. And yeah, she was literally my friend. I don't even know how it happened. She just took my hand, like, led me away, and I just followed because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what school this is. I don't know what these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you survive?
Like I said, I wing it. I don't know. I don't know what issues you had. If I don't recall no issues, I go home. I went to eat.
You just follow the
I
crowd.
just follow the crowd.
Yeah.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah.
That's another good place to freeze.
You are frozen.
But let's see what she- so let's see what she said. Are we frozen? You talking about the one friend who used to be here?
Martina Phillips.
You gonna say her name like I remember
Oh.
her name?
Martina, yeah, the one that happened.
So I don't know. It's technical difficulties on our end. It's not us. It's the show must go on. I believe we're having technical difficulties. If you are not aware at this moment, I don't even know if we're the one who's having technical difficulties.
Are we still on? Yeah, we still
I
on.
think we're on. I mean, the clock is moving. Couldn't be us. Could never be us. Period. Like I said, man, they used to send me everywhere, so I know how to do this stuff.
Okay. We are the ones.
Hello, guys. We're so sorry. We're having some light flickering and internet issues in the area, but we're back.
Couldn't be
Hang on.
us. Couldn't be us.
1
It's
second.
accident.
We're going to take some ads as we get back online, okay?
gotta love technology, man.
Do better.
I do apologize for that, viewers. Thanks for staying on with us. So we were talking about just this whole assimilation into school, this American culture, the differences. I was thinking about this while the internet did what it did and kicked us out. But I was thinking about what you said about your mom and the experience of her being this individual who was always giving to others, and how that impacted you as children. How did that translate into this new life, this life in Erie, transitioning over to a new culture, a new way of being, or a different way of being? How did mom continue to influence you guys?
Mom, she she speaks up. She speaks up. Like if she feels like somebody's not being treated equally or fairly as she should, she will let it be known with no hesitation. Uh, yeah, like I feel like she's also she does like she doesn't mind if something bad wants to happen while she's helping somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was this thing that was going on with her with a meeting they had, and like the communities, they like to stick together by depending where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
And this we had this person pretty much considered an outcast because they're not from where we're from, or they're not one of us. And my mom, they were not trying to include her because of that. And my mom stood out on that, and she made like she was like, why we consider her a friend, but when we come time for the good news, we don't want to include her. So she really stood out for her, even though she was the only one feeling such like.
So she pretty much influenced by her actions.
Mhm.
You know, you can see her do it and just like, yeah, this is amazing. I want to be like that too. I want to do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she got me to the point where like I'll feel worse if I didn't help compared to if I try, because there was this moment where I was driving in the snow and I seen a guy walking and I was like, I kept thinking about stranger danger, what if blah blah blah, what if he's a murderer? But I'm like, if it's my time to die helping somebody, then this is how I'm gonna do it. And so like stuff like that, like you get to it's like it is what it is. If I die by showing kindness, then let me go that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We have a question in the chat that I want to get to. With the experiences that you guys had, what services do you think should be set up for new Americans in order for them to be able to assimilate to American culture?
I say
Assimilate.
I wouldn't say services. I would say more like just find them somebody that's like them, somebody that can speak the language. Not a translator. Don't find me a translator who lives here and they just know the language. Find me somebody that's from there that knows English.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's a big difference compared to you just knowing the language to actually knowing the lifestyle, the stuff that I need. Because my mom, like, she's quick to where even though she doesn't she won't help you paper wise, but she'll tell you which store to go to. Because also food is a big thing. You can't just. It's hard to come to a whole different place and then start
Don't
eating
forget about
your food and all
Yeah.
that. Because she be called fufu, a big thing over there. She be called this one time where somebody was using the wrong flour for the fufu. So and since they didn't know no better, they just kept using it until she found out, and then she directed them to the right form of fufu and the different kinds that they have here.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely different between having somebody that just speaks the language and somebody who actually has lived their life.
Now I know you guys can't see my video. Unfortunately, I'm having some technical difficulties. There we go. So part of being able to assimilate, from what you said, has a lot to do with having that kind of access to what you need and having people to really be a part of that experience with you. And so when I heard you guys say earlier that it was really important for you to be able to create community for other people coming, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. So you're no longer 7 and 10. You're a little bit older than that now. For somebody who is making that transition, who is going through the early stages of this experience, they're coming to a new country. What are some things that you would want to share with that person who might be listening?
Don't try to fit in.
Yeah.
It was one of the worst things you had to deal with if you're trying to fit in, because you're not going to fit in. It's
Okay.
Yeah, one thing was like you easily become like you call like I remember growing up and they would be like, "Oh, you African?" Like, how do you even know? How you even know? Like,
I'm dressing like you.
yeah, I'm dressing
talking like you, but I
exactly.
mean, I have an accent maybe.
But you will not fit in, and it's best not to fit in, because once you find a group that actually wants to know you for
The
like
real you for
yeah,
who you
is
are.
so much better compared to trying to fit in. Because trying to fit in is like you're not even gonna find people that's funny. Like, come on.
And then it gets hard sometimes. Like, okay, you are you. Okay, let's say you finally found your identity, and unfortunately, since you were we were half raised here, we are part of African and a little bit of American. So you get to a point where okay, you too African for me, and you too Americanized for me. So, like he said, when you find your group of people that want to know who that wants to know the real you, is easier because you can be yourself. You can be your own person comfortably.
Yeah.
Without trying to do too much.
How do you do that? Well, maybe I should ask that question a little bit differently. Because you are both very passionate about that point of don't try to fit in, but be yourself. So to me, that says that you went through your own experiences.
It was hard.
Trying to fit in.
It was hard because here we are. We're in school with Americans that dress a certain way, that talk a certain way, that do things a certain way, and we come home with African parents that dress a certain way, that they think stuff like that. So when you go there, just like I'm African, they just look at you like, what are you doing? You're being weird. When you come home, just like an American, you get the same thing. What are you doing? This is not us. It is hard.
The clothes thing is her. That's not me. The guys have different treatment in all. I would say in all cultures. Because like I wear pants regardless, so it's not like I'm changing pants and anything like that. But yeah, the biggest thing is like, because like you know how they were sagging, and I was like, you tend to want to go into that route because everybody's doing it, but then you come home, it's like you got to put your pants up right away. All right, I didn't know I don't even know why sagging people did it. Like I always like, why are you even sagging for? But like I'll try to do it just so I can fit in, and then when I go home, I just put it back up, like I like normally would do. Yeah, but like the fit in part is very like it's not gonna be easy. I wouldn't say it's gonna be easy because you're not gonna find the people that that's for you. Because even like I remember when I was little, I was quiet. I don't like humans, so I was quiet and I kept to myself. So that made it hard for me to be friends with somebody. I had to be spoken to first. I wouldn't go out and speak to you because one, my English is not that good, and two, I don't know how you're gonna act towards me. I don't know if you're gonna start trying to be funny. If you're trying to be funny, but you're not really, you're trying to actually attack me. And which is a big difference. Which sometimes you gotta learn when somebody's actually making fun of your culture and actually being genuine about it.
Right, really interested in knowing more about your culture.
Yeah. And I feel like that's such an important piece because that has a lot to do with just when I say your personal safety, I don't mean, getting beat up or anything like that. I mean, just being able to have your sense of self and knowing that the people that are in your life outside of your family community are people that are good for you. Yeah, just being able to navigate that. We had another interesting question that came from one of our viewers. How did you come to the realization to just be you? How'd you get there?
How I realized was through time for sure. When you see this, you're not alone. You are definitely not alone. It might not be from the same place but like through middle school is when I really came out of my shell. Is when because I've had friends where we would talk about random stuff, like, and then there was stuff that we talked about was stuff was interesting. It was not the popular stuff whatsoever. No way was it popular. They probably called you a nerd for it, but even though it didn't take a genius to do this stuff. But the fact that you realize, oh, this guy who's pretty much going through the same life, social anxiety, social stress as you are going through, and you have connected. You start finding people that fits your bubble, and it's like, because like the stuff that I was considered booty for back then is now what's considered cool now. So it's like, yeah, it's just a time. Like sometimes you just gotta be you ahead of people, and take them a while to realize it. So yeah,
Yeah, and then I realized that Americans are also doing the same thing, like going through the same thing, the identity crisis, just the same way we are, and they didn't have to go through this culture shock, as they called it, like we did. So I'm like, what is this? What is this?
yeah, they just have more people going through the same process at the same time than you do. So that way you feel like you are outcasts, but you both in the same struggle.
same
It just
struggle.
happens more of them are going through the
Differently.
same struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like how you talked about that, because being able to point out the similarities between our experiences can sometimes be so helpful in terms of understanding where we're both coming from. I really like how you thought about that. Good night, Brother Glenn. I see you there. Yes, I do think this is a very interesting topic myself. So, faith.
Yes.
In all of the transitions that you've made in your life, in the assimilation to a new culture, learning how to be you, despite going through those stages, what role has faith played for you as individuals and for you as a family?
I feel faith cannot be mentioned without putting my mom in the
I was
center
just
of
about
it.
to say.
She hold it down.
Okay.
She was the one person in the family who did not play about going to church.
Okay.
If anything, if like whatever you do, you go to church. It doesn't matter how you look in, you go to church. So her really kept us.
And then our big brother.
Yeah, her kept us connected, and then Stefan followed along after her. But it was my mom definitely was a big play in that.
Yeah, it was. I feel like it was her faith that got us through it all, because at the end of the day, if it was not for her, we wouldn't be going to church. We wouldn't have known God, because she was the only one who introduced us to go to church and learn about God.
Yeah, we definitely went to church back home too. I do remember.
We went to bit.
Yeah, the fact that we came here to a new place, no language, anything like that, and she still
went to.
we
found that church.
We was really the only Africans there, so like we was the only ones there.
It was us and
Bernadette family.
Yes, it was two African families.
Yeah,
we had our own choir. I don't know how we found that church. Honestly, don't know how we found that church. We were the only Africans there, but we still came almost every Saturday, even by walking.
Yeah, we walked there sometimes.
By force, by fire, we go to that. like, it's my mom. Yeah, my mom is like a big influence when it comes to our faith.
Yeah. And so for you personally now, mom set this what sounds like great example of being faithful, relying on relying on God to get her through these situations and circumstances that you came through, good, bad, and indifferent. What does it mean for you guys individually now that you're having that experience for yourself?
God got us through it all. Like even for me, right now, I'm going through my own personal stuff, and I just know for sure that this is just temporarily, and it's gonna pass. Like God got us through it all, no matter where it is. And yeah, sometimes there's times she also had doubts, and sometimes when you speak to her, you wish I personally wish she would see life differently, but unfortunately due to what she went through, she can't help it. But like I know faith, like it's what keeps her sane. So yeah.
What about you, Simone?
What was the question?
Your faith experience as an individual.
Yes. Forgot what you said. Because I was thinking about mom. I was thinking about mom when she's mentioned that she did like how she had struggles herself, and I don't know if it's the same for her, but these times when mom will come to me like in the middle of the night just to talk to me, and she will pretty much vent to me, and I'll just stay there, listen. So yeah, I know definitely like she it takes a lot for her to be as strong as she is, and like me personally, I never anything that happened in the past, like it could happen yesterday, and I'll just take it as a lesson. I never was the person to really stay up at night thinking about what could happen, what if that, because like I feel that's for that moment only, and then either I learn from it or I will do it again, and then if I do it again, the lesson was not strong enough. So that's how I see it. I never really have like even back home. Only thing I focus on is like the positive. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I don't remember nothing negative about it about back home. I tend to only stay on the positive because that's the only thing that brings happy feelings. So yeah. Yeah, and with the faith part, future wise, I think my future is set in stone where God has them completed. So whether it's the way I vision it or different way, I know it's God's doing. So I have no stress about it.
Nice. As you reflect on your experiences of a lifetime, would you change any part of it?
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been less traumatic, but
Yeah or no? I wouldn't say I ain't traumatic. I don't know what she's doing, but I'll say people must be more like I feel I wanted to be more connected to my roots than I say I am. Yeah, I want to be more connected to my roots than I say I am. I wish I was there longer actually. So I can
where though? Burundi or Tanzania?
Wherever I was happy. So I ain't tripping. I wish I was there more so I can learn more. Because I also wish I knew more of the because this is like when we were there, you learn multiple languages by being there. You had no choice but to learn multiple languages because it's also like it's like village, so multiple different people come from different places, so they speak different languages. So I wish I was there to learn the different languages just so I can connect with different people more.
Yeah. So we're on our guys. Can you believe that the time just went? So I'm going back to this question. I've asked it before, but I want to ask it in a different way. So there's probably somebody listening who maybe they're listening tonight, maybe they'll listen 6 months from now, but they're getting ready to make a big transition like the one that you guys did. What advice do you want to give that person about community, about faith, and about how those things can impact their experience positively?
Community, faith, and what was the third one?
How can those things impact their experience of transition positively?
Oh, it's less lonely. That's one thing.
I said the biggest thing is love yourself. Love yourself. It makes it so much easier to find the people that you should be with. Because if you don't love yourself, you're trying to fit in. If you're trying to fit in, then you're not gonna find them. Once you accept yourself for who you are, it's so much easier. Because then you will find the people that accept themselves who they are, and then you have two people that love themselves sharing love, and it's way better compared to you trying to do anything else.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, and I said, don't be afraid to form your own community. Also, like, you don't have to always be in a popular group. You can make your own group. I remember in middle school, we literally had a whole different group. Like, there was clearly the popular kids who was known for whatever they do, and then there was us, a whole group of like just nerds. I wouldn't say nerds because I wasn't the smartest. Like I said, I was cheating, but that's besides the point. But yeah, you can really form your own community just by loving yourself, and like people will recognize that when you love yourself, it's easy to see. It's not hard to see. Don't be the gloomy person in the group.
I love that because I think it transcends culture, differences, black, white, all of it. I think it transcends all of that. What I hear you saying is, love me, know me, and then I can know my people. I love that. All right, guys, we are at that point where we want to choose a winner tonight. And I saw where we've got a comment from one of our viewers. Don't be afraid to form your own community, highlighting what you said. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us, for talking with us, for staying with us throughout this conversation. We want to choose our winner tonight. Anna Kay is going to spin our little wheel, our virtual wheel, and we're going to find out among those of you guys who commented who gets to go shopping this evening. Let's see.
Do I see Pastor Ming on here? Oh, it's Sister Ming. Thank you so much, Sister Ming, for hanging. Oh, that's hilarious.
Jenny,
I'm a prophet.
What to do?
Sister Ming, I'm a prophet.
You go right to www.kwministries.net/claim your prize. You will enter your information there and we will send you instructions on how you can go shopping on our website. We are so happy for you. Thanks to everybody.
I still have a minute. Wait, I still have a minute. I knew it was going to be good. Was it as good as I thought it was going to be? Oh, man. I knew this was going to be good. I was in board meeting and I apologize. Thank you, guys. I know you guys shared your heart. And I know folk were moved. I see Dr. Thurville saying, don't be afraid to form your own community hashtag. And thank you all who joined us. We're so grateful. Thank you. You're so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody have a good night. Sesile, Simone, your family. You can't get rid of us even if you try. Okay, you can't get rid of us even if you try. We're so
You can stay, you can go.
You can leave.
Because here, so you can go. We got the message loud and clear. You can go.
We thank you both so much. And we thank you, audience. Thank you very, very, very much. Listen, we have some exciting guests coming up.
Yes, we do.
We have Lakeisha Williams coming up. Dr. Love is coming back.
Yep.
We have some really, 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 really exciting people. We have a chaplain, Pastor Curtis Powell. He's coming on to talk with us about emotional intelligence. That's going to be good. You don't want to miss that. Pastor Quinn Cousins is coming on. Pastor Quinn Cousins has a disability and he graduated college. We went to school at the same time, and we want to talk to him. That is going to be so inspirational and motivational. Keep watching our Facebook page. Please, if you have not liked our YouTube channel. Did you welcome Northwest Louisiana Adventist Ministries?
I did not.
There are some folk. We have a new channel up. We're partnering with the Northwest Louisiana Adventist Ministries. That's where our new district where we are assigned, and we're on their YouTube channel. And Sister Ming is probably watching from there. And we want to say welcome. Thanks for joining the KW Ministries family, and the KW Ministries family joining your family. We're looking forward to some really, really exciting times. Of course, I want to start the show all over because I'm so late, but we have to go. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.